Welcome back. We'll be starting the newspaper reviews with The Nation. Major headline, Nigeria at 64. Military display at Aso Villa marks low-key event. President releases pigeons, cuts cake with others. Jonathan Okunjo-Iweala mark, governors foresee greater Nigeria. Security forces find another 66 illegal refineries. 72 incidents in 1 week. Noun Center set ablaze over rumor of likely use as IDP center. Pockets of protest in Lagos, Abuja, others. Decay in public schools unacceptable, says Abbas. Why governments must slash $3 billion annual wheat import by experts. FRSC operatives recover 8.6 million at crash scene. Makinde extends transport subsidy. What stories do we have in it?
Okay, my stories.
Okay, I've got the Speaker of the House of Reps, Abbas Tajuddin, has decried what he calls the largely unregulated and proliferation of private schools in the country, saying that it has led to unacceptable decay in public schools across the country. So they said that he said this during an interactive session with students drawn from public schools in the FCT. He says that teachers, even in public schools, now put their children in private schools because they do not have, they have no belief in what it is that they're doing. He also said that that Nigeria's education sector, for it to return to its glory days, adequate supervision, quality assurance in public schools must be prioritized by those tasked with the duty of running the sector. And I hear him, but I have a friend who owns a foundation and she works with public schools, especially in Lagos State. And she opened my eyes. I used to also think that these private schools everywhere, but she mentioned that the schools, like in Lagos State, the public schools are few and far between, and the private schools,
bridge the gap,
bridge the distance gap, and also fee gap, a lot of things like that. And that's why we have a lot of them. So what I would like for us to say going forward when we're talking about this education is how to work with both parties, with the private schools as well, improve on them, or make them public schools in some way so that we have more children in schools. Constantly just talking about what the issues are at the very top is not a problem. What is the reason why we have many private schools?
And
that is what we should be looking at. But they said he also made some... he distributed bags of rice and also offered free treatments for people to...
Rice?
Yes.
We shall rise.
We shall rise.
Above the rice.
We shall rise.
Which are the stories?
Okay, so I have the story of the Ibezim residence ablaze in Imo State. They said some gunmen touched the residence of a former lawmaker, Senator Frank Ibezim, at Ehime Mbano local government area of Imo. They said the suspects who are still at large also burnt down some facilities at the National Open University of Nigeria, also situated in the area. There was a viral video that went around, and in the viral video, they said there was a report that the federal government plans to renovate the Noun facility as a training ground for repentant Boko Haram insurgents.
Wow.
And simply because they saw the Federal Commission and National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, Tijani Mohammed, they went to the center with Mr. Ibezim. They went to they went on an inspection so that they can start a program to help the vulnerable persons in the state. So the program was supposed to start before the end of the year. And they said a lot of our people raised their voices against the internally displaced persons training project in that place, especially where there is no existence of the IDPs in the states. And I'm thinking that when they come for such, they should at least sensitize the people around that this is what they want to do. It's not so that they don't see now this misinterpretation. Now look at what it has caused. They've said the place ablaze. But now they are saying that the Okoye said that the police boss has deployed the command's tactical units to identify and apprehend those responsible for that.
I think the one I have in the nation is Governor Autumn, who said that God told him not to contest election in 2027. And this one says that the former governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, has said God told him not to contest any election in 2027. He said, I am not contesting the 2027 election. I knew why I lost in the election in 2023, and because I didn't consult God. My people purchased the forms for me, and I accepted them without consulting God. He said, God has revealed everything to me. He has asked me to wait for him. Ortom has also said this. He also said that he is making far-reaching sacrifices in the course of his tenure as Benue State governor, including abandoning his family and friends and at some point for state matters. So he is saying that because he's the leader of the G14, the elders in the states, G14 of the PDP in Benue State, he says if anything must happen, that he must know first because he is the leader, and there are no rumors around the fact that he wants to disband the group, that he cannot disband the group despite being the leader of that group. And this just brings me to say I don't like the fact that most of our politicians like to godify a lot of situations around them. You don't want to contest, for personal reasons. Then you have done your bit, you've been a governor for how many tenures?
Which of the gods? We need to be asking these questions.
He's a Christian, so
do you understand?
Even as a Christian, you could have other gods.
So, I mean, they should just leave God out of
just
this.
kidding.
They should, because even the God has said, let there be light. And some places, we still do not have light. So it doesn't mean that most of them...
Hey, Dabi. PG perspective.
Yes, that's a PG perspective.
So they should remove God out of whatever they do.
All right, we have another story here. The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, Kaduna State Sector Command operatives have recovered 8.6 million at the scene of an accident. The sector commander, Mr. Kabir Nadabo, confirmed the accident to the news agency of Nigeria yesterday in Kaduna. He said the crash occurred at Area G Samaru on the Zaria-Funtua Road at about 7 p.m., which left 2 persons injured. He said the Ford pickup belonged to the Nigerian Army, and it collided with the Toyota Corolla. Both were involved in the accident. Said the van was moving towards Funtua when the Corolla, lost control and crashed into the Ford. But according to initial investigations, they said the cause of the crash was speeding and loss of control. So a rescue team from Zebra, 55 Shika, led by Zebra Head, conducted the rescue. They also went ahead to say that further investigation showed that 3 people were involved in the crash, 2 sustained injuries, while 1 person was injury-free. So they had taken the person to the hospital. In addition to the rescue, they found 8.6 million belonging to the owner of the vehicle, and they are waiting for him to get better so that they can hand the money over.
Just let it be complete.
It's got to be complete. It's just got to be complete. So let's move on now to the Punch. Major headline: October 1 protest records low turnout nationwide. Kaduna, Plateau, Nasarawa order Sean rally. Heavy police presence in Osun, Niger. Police arrest 10 in Kano, Port Harcourt as NANS back president youth confab. Flooding worsens despite 180 billion spent on dams. Port Harcourt refinery misses 7th production rollout deadline. Tinubu government preaches patriotism at 64th Independence Day parade. Federal government extends rice subsidy program to states. 5 suspects arrested for allegedly killing Ogun fisherman. And Iran launches 180 missiles at Israel. Federal government plans Nigerians' evacuation. Let's take a story and we'll go on a short break.
I have the one for the flooding worsens despite 180 billion naira spent on dams. And this one is saying that amidst plan by the federal government to allocate fresh funds for conducting integrity tests on all dams in the country. Findings by, of course, the Punch has shown that a total sum of 179.77 billion naira was allocated for the construction and rehabilitation of the dams across the country over the past 10 years. And this analysis of budgetary allocations disbursed to the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and other related agencies between 2015 and 2024. And we're also hearing that, we're also reading that Punch reported that the first focus of government on spending dams emerged after the flooding incident that took over 50% of Maiduguri following the failure of the Alau Dam. This incident triggered the several downpours, resulted in a catastrophic flooding in Borno State, claiming over 30 lives and displacing at least 400,000 people. And finally, the breakdown of the budget between 2015 and 2024 showed the government allocation for preservation of the dams into 1,524.5% from the previous allocation in 2015, which was 44.25 billion within the 10 years, highlighting a steady increment in budgetary allocations. So I like the fact that they say they want to do integrity tests for the dams. So when they are doing integrity tests for the dams, the people that are allocating to should do integrity tests for themselves.
So true. We'll take a breather here. When we come back, we continue the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.